All right, let's set up the grid for the weekly project number 3, which is just getting you acquainted or reacquainted, depending on your design situation, with the setting up a grid. This weekly is going to be an 8x8 document. I am going to be doing it in InDesign, just because I tend to like the grid system there, and that's where I do the bulk of my layout. But you can also do it in Illustrator using similar methods. So let's go ahead and set up 8 inches by 8 inches. As we can see from the picture on the handout, there are 4 columns. So let's go ahead and tell it to do the 4 columns. And we can also see that it says that it wants us to have 1/4 of an inch with the gutters. So let's make it that 1/4 of an inch. And ditto with the margins. Let's make life easy on ourselves. I have the lock selected so that when I change it once and then I can click on the others, it will actually fill us in. So it's 8x8, 4 columns, 1/4 inch bleed, and a 1/4 inch margin. Go ahead and click OK. So what we can see is our document has set up the verticals, but we're going to have to do our horizontals. I like, to pull out the grids just so I have them extending to the edge. Why reinvent the wheel? We just did this part, so let's go ahead and add them. Might be a little tedious, but I do like the continuity to the end of the page. Again, this is going to be a personal preference, so if it doesn't bother you, don't worry about this stage. And let's get the horizontal set up. Here we go. And now to fill in the gaps for what we are missing. So, you could sit and math this out if you so wish, or you could let the math be easier because we've already created the width that we are looking for. So I'm going to take the rectangle box tool. I'm going to borrow this width, and I'm going to rotate it. Hold down that shift key, and I'm going to line it up to that 1/4 of an inch, drag down a guide, and there is our exact width that we are going to be looking for. Again, copy and pasting this. Why reinvent that wheel? And I'm just going to slide this out so that it aligns a little bit better. We are going to do the same thing, but we are going to do it for the gutters. So that's our 1/4 of an inch. Line that up, bring down that guide, and now it's just a rinse and repeat. Bring down the guide, slide down the next box. I have used this a lot, especially with book publishing, because sometimes you're going to be given a project where your spine starts at a strange width. Let's say you're doing some self-publishing through Lulu, and it says that your spine width starts at something like 6.29344 or whatever. Don't worry about it. You can just tell the box to be a specific size. And there we go. I'm going to delete those. Now we have our grid set up. I am actually going to lock these because they are movable at this stage, and now they're not. And then we can go and start laying out our text for this. Remember, if we're using, and I'm just going to make a magenta colored box, we're using the guides themselves, so do the dance within the guides. So maybe this is going to be one of the paragraphs. This is not using your guides, just as a heads up. This in between, put it actually on it. This is also not using the guides. So let's try to, you might have a little bit of a ragged edge there. That's okay, but try to, be specific with your use. This would translate also directly to a cover design if you're doing magazines, etc. And this is just nice because it's going to keep everything in a nice, clean alignment. And it's going to be much more organized and easy to read. You can set up guides for any project, and I highly recommend it because it gets you used to getting your information arranged in a logical manner.